to use every tool and strategy, including razor wire fences, to secure the border. A lot of people interpreted that to mean that you think Texas should defy the Supreme Court and stop federal agents from removing that razor wire. Do you think Texas should do that? Should they defy the Supreme Court?
Texas should stand their ground. They should enforce their state law and go back to the constitutional rights that they've been granted to protect their state sovereignty. And that's what so many of us as governors are offended by, is that Democrats were threatening to encourage the president to activate our guards in order to get them to stand down and not protect our state. So it is a dangerous situation. It is a war zone at our southern border. I'm so proud of what Texas has done, proud to stand with them. I've deployed my National Guard down there 3 separate times already, and we'll do what we can to help them support and defend their people. It is the inhumanity of the policies that are happening right now is pretty striking, Dana. I mean, you see women suffering, the drug trafficking, the human trafficking that is happening because of these open border policies. It's inhumane, and it needs to stop.
So on that note, what we're hearing from even some federal agents is that they are kind of frustrated because the law is antiquated, and we'll get to that in a second, but that what they are doing is that they're sitting there and they see migrants, human beings, if they're in drowning or in trouble, they're on the other side of razor wire, and these people can't be saved. Are you concerned about that?
You have the Texas Department of Public Safety that is pulling people out of the river, giving them CPR, bringing them back to life because the cartels are forcing them across that river. I talked to one mother who had just gotten into the United States and had been taken into custody by National Guard and also by Border Patrol. But she had been in Nicaragua, had been told that America is open, please come. She brought her daughter, her 6-year-old daughter, and was facilitated through by cartels, and said where she was so mistreated was in Mexico, that she sat in Mexico for 3 months and was put through horrific work conditions and terrible conditions for her and her daughter for 3 months before they then brought her across the river and forced her across into a dangerous situation. So the people that I see saving lives down there is the Texas National Guard, the Texas Border Patrol. I'll tell you, the Border Patrol that works for this federal government doesn't approve of Joe Biden's policies. The people in this country don't. Nobody thinks that what's happening at the border is the right thing to do. And they know that the president has the legal authority now to take action. He could stop this today. He doesn't need to wait for a bill to pass Congress. He doesn't need to wait for this bad bill to be codified, which it shouldn't be. President Biden could take action today.
Governor, I do want to ask you about that in a minute, but just to put a button on the letter that you wrote and what is going on with regard to this, to the razor wire. You said that you could be willing to send South Dakota National Guard troops down to the border again. We heard from your colleague in Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, that the situation could lead to a force-on-force conflict. Congressman Clay Higgins said the feds are staging a civil war. There is real concern that things between Texas and the federal government could turn violent. Are you worried about that?
Well, that's why I went to the border on Friday. I went there to see with my own eyes what was going on, and recognizing that I am, as governor of South Dakota, I'm commander-in-chief of my National Guard. That's a heavy responsibility that sits on our shoulders. We have the same responsibility for those families and those soldiers that the president should feel for our military and how he engages them. So we don't know where this will escalate. We don't know what the president will do. We don't know how he'll try to manipulate our soldiers, and if he will even defend our country from this invasion that is happening. So that's why I went there. I'm all in to protect our state sovereignty. I deal every day, Dana, in South Dakota with the effects of this open border. We have those Mexican cartels that have a presence on my 9 tribal reservations, where those communities are suffering from the drug trafficking and the human trafficking that's going through my tribal reservations, where I don't have any jurisdiction. I can't go there and help bring peace to their community. I can't help protect them from these Mexican cartels.
So are you worried about violence
in South Dakota, facilitating unrest?
Are you worried
about concerned about violence because people in South Dakota live with violence every single day.
Are you worried about violence on the border between?
And my tribes have asked
state forces, National Guard forces,
well, first
Texas
of all,
forces, and feds.
What I do as governor is I start looking at the long-range effects of every single decision and what I'm prepared to do. So that's why I went to the border on Friday, was to look at, there could be a violent situation, but there also could be areas where we need to take legal action as governors to protect our states. I'm willing to put all of that on the table to make sure that we're protecting the freedoms that we've always had ever since this country was founded. That's my responsibility and why I get up every single day.
So I want to go back to what you alluded to, which is what's happening in the United States Congress and the Senate in particular. You went to the border, you call it a war zone, and now you have in the Senate a bipartisan deal with new border and asylum restrictions. President Biden says the law would give him emergency authority to shut down the border, and he said he would use it on day one, quote, for everyone,